we're continuing our special coverage of the All Progressives Congress Convention. And with just a few hours to the presidential primary of Nigeria's governing All Progressives Congress Party, the intrigues and horse trading are beginning to emerge.
Yes, indeed. And joining us now for more, Arise Analyst Frank Tietie and Arise Director of News and Politics Editor Sumner Sambo. Thank you both, gentlemen. You're going to be helping us dissect all of this. Let's start with, where we are now. In the last few days, President Muhammadu Buhari has been trying to, hold meetings. He's had dinners with APC governors, presidential aspirants of the APC, of course, in a bid to come up with that one person that will fly the flag of the APC. But till now, it doesn't seem that we're any closer to who will emerge than where we were a couple of days ago. Frank Tietie, let me start with you. Buhari has ruled out a preferred candidate. This seems to be at about turn to his earlier plea with the governors that they should allow him, choose or pick somebody that, he would like to emerge or take over from him. What do you make of this? Is it good? Is it looking good?
Oh, well, yes, indeed, because things are becoming a bit more transparent and the president is becoming more realistic, because the idea of a consensus candidate seems quite very far from the All Progressive Congress when you consider the provisions of the Electoral Act. It's not that easy. The APC, it's going to be very difficult for it to be able to attain a consensus candidate, because first thing that must happen is that all declared candidates, in this case 23 of them, must sign a document. Must first of all write that they have withdrawn. Imagine the psychological, feeling of having to write by yourself that you have withdrawn as a presidential candidate. It doesn't end there. They probably will take another piece of paper and write again that they are endorsing a particular candidate that is common to all of them. It doesn't also end there. They will now proceed to a special convention where members of the party will also now endorse whatever they have signed, and either by their resignation and their endorsement. Now, when you look at the situation on ground, nobody should be talking about a consensus candidate. And I believe the president just came to the reality that, I really couldn't just choose my successor that easily. However, the president merely, and I believe so, prevailed on the party members that it is better for a united party to proceed to the general election with a consensus candidate. So from the way things stand, with candidates like Rotimi Amechi, who left extremely powerful positions of as Minister of Transport without taking the risk, on like Chris Ogige, with the likes of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who have invested so much in this particular convention, and then Yahya Bello, who is going to write that he has resigned or withdrawn from the presidential race and endorse who? So it's a very difficult situation for the APC at this time. However, the entire country stands on a political balance right now, because we tend to be reliving the events of between 1962 and 1965, which preceded the first military coup, when the political class failed to sustain a democracy that was was won with so much hardship. The political class must now, particularly the APC, whereas the northern governors have done quite well. They are being chaired everywhere in the southern part of Nigeria, because they felt the PDP has not been quite sensitive enough to the political history of this country, and to think that the APC is not able to cash in on that platform that the northern governors have given is a problem right now to the entire country, and not just the APC alone. Okay.
Sumner Sambo, when it comes to the APC and consensus, it's almost synonymous. With the emergence of the Senate president, it was a somewhat consensus issue. When it came to the issue of the national chairman, it was a consensus issue. Why is this going to be any difficult and different for them?
Thank you, Adeswa. This time around, it's going to be a very different development. Don't forget that this is the second succession presidency that we're having fully after 2007, where we had Obasanjo and eventually Yar'Adua got the ticket of the PDP then. So there was that succession presidency issues within the ruling party then, the People's Democratic Party. And now we couldn't do that in 2011 or 2015. It's now, this is the second time that we're having a president completing 2 terms, making it 80 years. And so that's why you see that this time around, it's going to be very difficult. Like I said on one of our earlier shows, it's difficult for President Buhari to come out and say, this is my successor that I want. Because if it doesn't go very well with other members and leaders of the party, there's a tendency that Buhari may end up having a shell as a political party, an empty shell as a political party. And so it's these governors and party leaders and members that actually go to the floor or go to the political grounds to canvass for votes and all of that. So if you just think because you're a president and you have the powers to impose a candidate and you go ahead to do like it happened at the APC National Convention for the election of the members of the National Working Committee, or even that of the Senate presidency you're talking about, well, there may be an APC in existence, but at the end of the day, the president will just find out that it's only himself, maybe some members of his cabinet that are out there in the APC. So it's a difficult thing. And don't forget, it's been said, Tinubu and Atiku Abubakar have been business partners. They've held businesses before, done lots of things. So there's this morbid fear within the APC that if Tinubu is not treated very well, it would just be very easy for him to get into an alliance out of grievances with Atiku Abubakar. And just before you know it, President Buhari will be the first and only APC president that the party has ever had.
Frank Tietie, apparently this is not just about Bola Tinubu. There are so many people on the ticket, 23 of them on this ticket. We've been talking about their chances, and all of that. How is it looking even better now? Maybe you want to pick one or two. There's a chart that's been going around, and if that chart is anything to go by, oh my. Let me just say that the top person on this list, I will not name any names, actually has 857 delegates. The next person, 571. The third, 329. And the fourth, a distant 40 delegates. What do you think is going to amount, APC is going to amount to going into this convention and post-convention? Will it come out weaker or stronger?
That's a very difficult question. Before I answer that question, I must say that the APC didn't need to get into this predicament if the president had acted on time. There were thoughts in certain quarters that and the president also mentioned it, that if he named his preferred successor, he probably would be eliminated before the elections even start. But that's not how it's done. The former governor, Peter Odili of Rivers State, had exhibited so much interest in becoming president while he was governor of Rivers State, and with a lot of petrodollars to spend. And it actually traversed the corners of this country, campaigning, and he was clearly going to become president. And Obasanjo didn't mince words about preferring a particular person. And anybody who dared Obasanjo then as president was chased and hounded by the EFCC. So, with all the investment they made, when Obasanjo eventually, as a strong president that he was, decided that this is his preferred candidate, no governor dared to go against him. So he used the EFCC as an attack dog. He used other means. He even chased the sitting governor out of office, forced an impeachment on him. That was the kind of powerful president the PDP had. And I'm sure many of the members of the APC were wishing that they had a president that was not too unnecessarily taciturn and tactful, and wasn't too expressive as our president had been with regards to his party affairs. Now it's coming too late. They are daring to challenge the president. The president is even unwilling to now mention his preferred candidate at the dying moment. So it's a difficult...
But is it not good for democracy? I mean, leaving it open, let the people decide, let the delegates decide who will, run at the end of the day.
Well, there is democracy with a distinction from politics. Politics is about interest. what kind of legacy is it going to bequeath that as a president, a two-time president with powers of incumbency, he couldn't prevail on the members of his party, many of them who have claimed to be loyal to him, all of them who claim to be, to say that he is their political father and the leader of the APC, would not now kowtow or defer to him. So it's a very difficult situation, and our president must actually be helped at this time.
In 20 seconds, if you can, Sumner, let's talk about the delegates. I mean, now that the northern governors have said, let power go to the south, what are we likely to see play out? A relationship between the delegates and their governors, or aspirants and the delegates?
Well, it's going to be a relationship between the delegates and their governors, because the governors are the powerful people here. Don't forget, in the presidential system that we're running, the power actually lies in the states. And I must state it clearly here that President Buhari must be commended for not wielding the powers of the presidency to actually do what Frank Tietie just talked about. I mean, if we go back to 2007, you could see all that President Olusegun Obasanjo did, using the EFCC, doing all sorts of things. But what sort of successor did President Obasanjo eventually had? I mean, you could see a Yaradua that came and he didn't even just bother to go through all the things. He removed all the carpets that was put underneath him. And so he wanted to be his own man. So President Buhari is trying to avoid all of that. And the nation must help to guide him in not abusing the processes of the state, the institutions of state to do that. He must receive some commendation there. It's just that, you know, this thinking of having a successor is coming late. He should have done it politically right before now.
Sumner Sambo, political editor for Arise News, thank you so much. And of course, Arise News analyst Frank Tietie, always a pleasure to have you on the news. Thank you.
Thank you very much.